6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad that you can be with us. I'm glad to be with you today. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. Also, we're streaming online at cklu.ca. Click on the Radio Player Canada app. You can stream us through the player, the Radio Player Canada app player online, or you can download that app and then take us anywhere and listen to us anytime on your favorite device. So thanks for being with us. We're also live on social media, all things facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News, and make sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, all of those things. Also, make sure to comment, and we'll get your comments up on the screen if it's live on social media. We'll make sure to address as many of them as we can get to. Sometimes it's not easy to get to all of the comments just because we start getting into the story and I'm either with a guest or we're just, reading it or whatever. And a lot of comments come up and we try to get to them all. And sometimes it is what it is. We've already moved on from the story and we're already kind of in the middle of another story and someone's trying to gather their thoughts together and give their comment. And we do our best to go back and share those comments and then come back to the story. So we do our best here. We are a work in progress. We're 100% volunteer. No one is paid to either host the show or be a guest on the show. So it is 100% volunteer, including our radio station that we are now on, Q92, CKLU 96.7. That also is, 90% volunteer, and it runs on a shoestring budget. So it really runs on your compassion, your volunteerism. So you can host a show on CKLU, no problem. You just got to email the GM, Rob. So his email is gm@cklu.ca, and you basically say, hey, I heard that I could host a show too. And then you pitch your idea of a show. Could be something that you love doing. It needs a theme of some kind usually, and you pitch your show and in the email, and then he'll email you back, probably set up an interview with you, go over some of the details, and voila. You have your own show on CKLU, and you can do just what we're doing. You just put a camera in front of yourself, and you can live stream it as well. So it's an opportunity to serve your community, serve CKLU, and give of some of your knowledge and experience to enhance the community in some way, shape, or form. So without further ado, we have Brian Poulain with us this morning. He's going to be joining us momentarily. But first of all, we're going to get to the weather. There's a weather statement. Obviously, you probably heard already that you might have to look at your Christmas plans and make some arrangements. But anyways, we'll get into that in a few seconds. And then we'll be back with Brian Poulain and the headlines right after this. All right, Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Currently, it is minus 12 degrees. Feels like negative 18, however. Humidity is 75%, but there is a special weather statement out, and I know you've probably heard about this already, and we're wondering about details. Unfortunately, there's not many more details than what we've had before, although Environment Canada just says there's a significant winter storm expected late this week into the holiday weekend. Snow is expected to begin Thursday for areas near Lake Superior, so that's tomorrow. So I guess we could keep our finger on the pulse by watching the weather as it comes into our area over the Great Lakes. And Friday, snow may become heavy at times with very strong northerly winds Friday into Saturday. Blizzard conditions are possible for areas near the northern shores of Lake Superior, downwind of Lake Nipigon. So here's the thing. There's a lake effect going on that causes certain weather. While there's a high confidence in a high impact winter storm, the details regarding wind speeds and specific snowfall amounts remain highly uncertain at this time. Please monitor your local forecast and the latest alerts in your area. And then they also add this: consider altering plans through the holiday weekend as travel conditions may become dangerous. Extensive utility outages are possible. Bitterly cold wind chill values are expected Friday into the weekend. And Public Safety Canada encourages everyone to make an emergency plan and get an emergency kit with drinking water, food, medicine, a first aid kit, and flashlight. So you can actually go to the government website on being prepared. It is one source, right? So it's a good start. getprepared.gc.ca. getprepared.gc.ca. So please continue to monitor alerts and forecasts issued by Environment Canada. And you can report severe weather by going to their page as well. If you see it, that's how they're able to have eyes and ears on the ground in real time. So continuing with the forecast today, although the winter storm is looming, it'll be sunny and then becoming a mix of sun and cloud this afternoon. Wind will be the regular moderate 20 kilometers an hour coming from the west. The high will be -9. Wind chill -21. Now, it feels very cold out there this morning. You can tell it's got a bite. Probably the coldest morning so far this year, as far as it felt like anyways this morning. The highs feels like -21, but then -14 this afternoon. Tonight, increasing cloudiness, snow beginning before morning, wind up to 15 kilometers an hour, high of -11, with temperature rising to -7 by the morning, wind chill near -16. That's overnight. Now for Thursday, that is tomorrow, snow amount of 2 centimeters. Wind will be southeast 30 kilometers, becoming light in the morning, high of -2. Wind chill -16. That's for tomorrow in the morning, and then -6 in the afternoon. So not the most, not the coldest day in the year tomorrow, but got a lot of mix of weather, a mixed bag coming up. Thursday, as we said, snow in the amount of 2 centimeters. Friday, periods of snow or rain. The high is expected to be on Friday, 0. So this is where the tricky weather comes in. And that is, 2 days before Christmas. And then flurries are forecast with a high of -11 on the Saturday before Christmas Eve. And then on Christmas, flurries, or a chance of flurries, 30% chance of flurries. There's a 70% chance that there won't be. But anyways, there's a chance of flurries, high of -10. I got a feeling it's going to be a nice Christmas regardless, weather-wise. On Christmas Day, I don't know about, before it or anything. Monday, cloudy, -10, and then a little more flurries anticipated or forecasted for the Tuesday. But looking that far ahead, you know what can happen. It's really hard to predict these things. So your satellite, looking at all of the active weather over the Great Lakes, Lake Superior, coming our way, cloud cover, doesn't look too bad from the satellite, but that's the way it looks now. We don't know what's coming in from the west, but it looks just like a little bit of activity so far north of Sault Ste. Marie, and it could possibly miss us north of us. So we'll just have to stay tuned and keep our finger on the pulse for the weather for this weekend. And hopefully, if you have travel plans, really look at the weather in the specific area you're traveling. At Sudbury Weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca, right here on CKLU 96.7 FM, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. We'll be back with more of Sudbury news and the headlines and Brian Poulet right after this. All right, so we have our guest on today. It is Brian Poulet. I'm going to get his mic all ready to go. And then also we're going to be looking at our headlines. Lots to talk about, even just with what happened yesterday in the city of Sudbury and the day before. And then there's...
And is there ever?
Yeah, isn't it crazy, all the stuff going on? And I want to give a
all
shout
of a
out.
sudden, just
Shout out
boom,
to
boom, boom.
Shout out to David here. Good morning, David. Thanks for being with us this morning. Comments are working.
Good morning.
Comments are working. So make sure to, if you have something that you wanted to chime in on what we're talking about, feel free. And comments are more than welcome here. So you've been looking at the news, Brian, over the last couple of days locally?
Yeah, I got caught up actually. I took a few days off, and then I was like, well, let's just jump on in here and see what's going on in the world.
Good.
So yeah, lots of lots of stuff to talk about. I'm not sure where we're going to go this morning, but
well, I thought
day.
The easiest thing to do is just go through the through the stories. And that's all we can do. So
that's all we can do. Yeah.
Yeah. And see what time permits for us.
So what I found interesting, well, I found them all interesting, actually. I just kind of go to your news feed now and just go off of that. I don't need to go to gazillion other sites.
Yeah. What I like is Sudbury.
It's all curated for me right here.
What I like is Sudbury.news. You go there and you just go on Sudbury stories, or you just hit the homepage. It's all there. So
and it's all most of it's local, but then you kind of, depending on where you go, you often see stuff. Well, I like it.
Yeah. So it's all in the feed. It's all local news. The odd other story comes through just because of whatever's in the meta tags or whatever. So you got your Sudbury.com news. You got your Sudbury Star, CTV, CBC there. And we also have the Twitter feeds, and including the police Twitter feeds there.
And that's so cool. That's very cool. In fact, all those sites that you just mentioned are sites that those are pretty much the top 4 or 5 that I would go to, on a given day or throughout the day.
Yeah.
But now I find myself not doing that so much anymore, and just really, hey, we got a local news guy right here, Sudbury.news. Let's go there. Right?
Well, again, and that's fine. And I'm going
to that. Yeah, that's great work.
And we do try to do the best job we can to kind of unpack the local stories. We don't talk about everything though. So I would still encourage everybody to, to go on their own and
absolutely
do the news.
I mean, it's a work in progress, and like any work in progress. I mean, this I've watched your site unfold, pretty much from the beginning, and you guys have certainly come a long way. So it's
and it's still a very basic site.
Place.
Yeah,
it's still very
basic,
but I like the community aspect and the show that you've got going on here in CKLU, especially those lines, and so I really enjoy it. Anyways.
Well, thanks, Brian. Much appreciated. Much appreciated having you on the show today. Thanks for taking your time.
To subscribe.
Thanks, and thanks for the plug. So, first story up on our Facebook page, and the Facebook page is mainly used. It's also to share the news, but the main use of our Facebook page is to put the stories on there that will most likely or potentially be talking about on the show in the morning.
Mhm.
So that way it gives us somewhere to put all the stories in a place where then we could use them to talk about. So that's the main. That's why
Right.
we don't have all of the Sudbury stories on our Facebook page, but on our website we do. It's everything Sudbury News is on Sudbury.news.
Mm.
But here it's mainly used for the show. So this is the first story we shared, and it's from Sudbury.com. And the headline is "Perfect Storm of Inflation, High Prices Driving More into Homelessness, Say Advocates."
Mhm.
So, and that is true. So if inflation goes up and there's, everybody who's on the borderline of being able to make ends meet, it just
Poverty.
shifts
Yeah.
the line a bit, right? So it shifts your
Yeah.
line, and now you're homeless all of a sudden because you were right at the line when,
Mhm.
and it's almost like a lot of us, we're living paycheck to paycheck. And
Cause and effect. Yeah.
yeah, so one interest rate rise from the Bank of Canada for our mortgage could put somebody, into bankruptcy. It's that hairline of a thing. Our
It really
economy.
is. Yeah. It's one domino falls, and yeah.
So it says social
Positive-
agencies and
positive.
advocates say rising interest rates and high inflation are pushing more Canadians into homelessness. So we'll come back to that. And then also Natalie Ann, yes, food banks seen an increase as well. People aren't able to live. They're making decision to pay their bills, food, or rent. You have multiple families living in dwellings. Sad, sad, sad. So a lot of people have to go in on a place to live together.
I can't help but notice. It seems like we're kind of stuck in a vicious circle with that. We're dealing with our homelessness and the other problems that the other typical problems that go with it. And
For sure.
it's just, I was thinking this morning, I mean, why are we still stuck on this? We should
Mm-hmm.
really have a handle on this already. And it just baffles me that we don't.
Yeah, and I wish really that we could have more, good news to report and have a positive angle. And I made a pledge to do my best to have a positive angle on the show, because ultimately I am a positive person, 99% positive.
Captain Marketing.
Yeah, and I want to, also portray that positiveness. But I do believe in my heart of hearts that I am witnessing, and we are all witnessing, the downfall of our society on a global basis.
Level.
We're seeing it. We've kind of reached our high point, and some idealisms and some principles and things got into where we were heading, and
a pivoting point. Yeah,
pivoting point. And now we're witnessing from every angle the decline of our society in so many ways, and we're going to be turning to the very entities that are part of the reason, and it's just going to make it worse. And unfortunately, I don't know if there's anything we could do about that, but we can be positive ourselves. We can be positive in our own spheres. I don't think it's the only. We just have to look at what we can control in our own lives, and that's all we can do.
This the way I kind of visualize it, Aaron, is like circles. You have your inner circle, and then you have, these outer circles that are also part of your life, and you just sort of have to. It's all about staying in the fun zone.
But I think, and I think what you're alluding to is if you take care of yourself,
reality.
Yeah, if you take care of yourself, if everyone just really looks at, okay, looking inside, what can I do to make myself a stronger, better, positive person in any way, shape, or form? If everyone was doing that individually, it then has an effect collectively. But if we go out to the collective and try to make the collective better, it will never work. There was a parable of a king on his deathbed. I believe it was an Asian parable of some kind. And the king was like, he wanted to make the world better. He tried everything he could. He realized he couldn't do it. He tried to make his country better. He did everything he could do to to do that, and he realized he wasn't able to do that. He tried to make his city better, couldn't do it. He tried to make his household better.
Epic fail, yeah.
But then he realized if I just made myself better, then I could have possibly had that result. So
Possibly.
yeah. So if everybody's individually working on themselves, making themselves better, it would have a collective effect. But unfortunately,
It would.
we're a collective, centralized society, and we're talking about the collective all the time. Try to make the collective better through
We are
collective
a
means,
collective,
and it never goes good. It just can't. There's no way to do that. You can only change what you can change, that you have the ability and power to change, and you have to start with yourself. Now, so speaking of that, and not to digress,
Leave the rest up to the big guy.
yeah,
But,
exactly.
Just thought I'd throw that in there.
For sure, you're right. So the big story today is the homicides that have just occurred in the Travel Lodge Hotel on the corner of Walford and Paris Street a few days ago. So I do have the video queued up. So let's just take a look at this from CTV, and we'll be back right after this. We'll just see what the latest is on that.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. It's been a bit of an odd time in our region. Police in Sudbury investigating a double murder from overnight at a South End hotel. There have now been 5 murders in northeastern Ontario in less than a week. One in the Sioux last week, one each in Timmins and North Bay on the weekend, and this morning, this new pair in Sudbury, and police are still looking for who did it. Here's CTV's Molly Frommer with the latest.
There was a heavy police presence throughout the morning at the Travel Lodge Hotel as officers investigated an overnight shooting. They got the call after gunfire was heard around 2 a.m.
When officers arrived, they did locate 2 men who had sustained what are believed to be gunshot wounds. A 27-year-old man was transported to hospital. However, he was unfortunately pronounced deceased by medical professionals, and the second individual was pronounced deceased on scene.
Police say they will have little information to release until after autopsies are performed.
We are working in collaboration with the coroner's office, and postmortems will be conducted on both individuals, one to help identify the second individual involved and in order to confirm the cause of death.
Police say 3 people were arrested at the scene, but none of them have been charged for committing murder. All 3 are facing other charges, and officers have remained on scene throughout the day.
We'll be canvassing for information as well as video surveillance footage in relation to the incident, and anyone with information is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
Including the one underway, a total of 6 homicide investigations have occurred in 2022, with 8 victims involved. This number is up compared to the previous year.
In 2021, we had 4 homicide investigations with 6 victims.
Police say they believe this latest homicide is a targeted and isolated incident. Molly Vromer, CTV News, Sudbury.
And there you have it. So have you been up on that at all, Brian?
Yeah, sucks for any family this time of year. Numbers are up. I think that's pretty obvious for anybody who at least reads the headlines.
So there's been five just this last week in Northern Ontario in general, and then we have 2 more homicides this year than we did last year. So I don't think we need to panic. We are a city like any other. Crime so what do you
doesn't
think?
Discriminate.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate for the families and everyone. We really don't know much on this. Like, that's the thing.
No, that's what I left myself scratching my head still. Like, okay, well, what else is happening here? Like, what? And I'm noticing that our police force quite often in the last year or two, with their press releases, they're not so forthcoming.
They use kind of canned statements. They're similar to the hockey players.
Statements. And I'm thinking it's like, okay, well, are we protecting the investigation, or are we purposely not saying this stuff because, it's
they're saying what they have to, because taking communications, they're letting everyone know that when it took place, how many people were involved, is there danger to the public. They're covering all their bases, communication, but they're really not giving any information. And it's like these canned answers they're just giving, like there's no immediate danger to the public, and we're investigating. We'll let you know when we know more.
Canned answers are dangerous. I say hearing a lot of this lately, canned answers from pretty much everybody. Like our deputy minister there, when she testified at the emergencies act inquiry there. She was, I tell you, she was shedding a lot of light on stuff with all these comments. Well, I don't recall, and well, at the moment, it's like, well, you wrote this on a napkin. What is it supposed to mean right before or after? He is just, well, I can't recall, so I can't help but think of this, and that's just one example.
Politicians are famous for those, right? And
yeah,
I like
absolutely. And apparently our police force sometimes too, because I mean, I understand that there's, take into the communication training, right? Because you gotta be trained on that, on how to deal with the press and
the public,
the media, the general public, and how to handle situations. And there's a top guy, there's a puppeteer up there that's controlling all that, right? But this lack of transparency at a time when our country really needs
and that gets into all kinds of other things, but just specifically, and we do talk about that, we will talk more about I think transparency is what everybody would hope for. But it was funny, we talked yesterday to Billy, what if you went to bed tonight, Brian, and all of a sudden tomorrow everything was transparent? You woke up in the morning, everything on the news said exactly what's been going on in our country and in our world, as it really is. Everything was transparent. What do you think would be the result of that?
Well, I think I don't I can't. I'm thinking about Bill Murray and Groundhog Day, but what would be the result of that? Wow, that's a very good question. One, I'm still, I don't know what the result would be.
Well, Billy
have. Go ahead.
I was going to say Billy gave a quote of somebody saying something similar to that aspect, and he said it would cause a revolution.
Yeah.
Because if you really knew where all your tax dollars has been going all these years,
a revolution.
Yeah, because everything was, and you knew somebody was, any criminal aspect in our society, everything. Like if you look at the Laurentian thing, what if that was transparent the whole time? There would be
revolt. Yeah, there would be revolt for
Can you imagine as Laurentian?
A lot of civil unrest, probably.
Yeah. So even locally, can you imagine as Laurentian was going through this process, it was all transparent and all public, and everyone knew, okay, Laurentian is purposely planning on going bankrupt, and it went in the headlines. Board meeting last night.
Crazy.
They're planning on laying off or firing everybody and going bankrupt. As it was happening, there would be outrage, public outrage as it was happening, as it was transparent. So transparency would cause things not to get to that point ever, but there's a reason why they're transparent, and it's to allow people to do things that are just not ethical or just not right, or they serve their own purpose, or they serve the purpose of their organization. They live in that zone. They love the non-transparency, and they love those canned answers. Not saying that the police in this incident have anything to do with that. That has nothing to do with this incident or the police.
That hasn't even crossed my mind at this point. But I just find it, something I keep my eye on. I just
for sure.
It's the way the brain's wired, I guess. Sometimes
so Jesse's saying in the last few months between the rent, homelessness, and criminals, Sudbury is a real dumpster fire. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a lot going on in Sudbury again, and I don't know if it's just Sudbury specific. I think I watch a lot of American news, I watch Canadian news, and I think we're seeing a lot of this in a lot of cities, and it's because the same principles are being applied in each of these cities, and it's like the definition of insanity, right? To some degree, you do the same thing over and over. I mean, it is really sad. And would you now? My mind is going to the idea. Remember, there was that story of the guy dropping off somebody at the hospital with a gunshot, and then they were looking for this red. I haven't heard anything from that afterwards.
Nothing. What's the update there?
Yeah. Who was the guy who was shot?
Having a discussion with a family member about this yesterday, and it was like,
who was this?
Don't you ask yourself these questions? Yeah, who was this person?
He was in the hospital. They were able to, if they had to, ID the guy.
Pictures out there.
How did they serve him if he didn't have a health card? And they would have had to find out who this individual was. Right. And then nothing in the news after that I seen. And I'm pretty good. I have to look at the news every day for this show, and And
So,
if it slipped through, which it could have, I'll give it that. But I never saw anything on that.
no, and so why can't we have anything on that? I mean, this
I
is
don't know.
something that was, here's the beginning of the story, but you get no middle or end.
Yeah.
So, or you
Now,
get
to
a
me,
middle, you get a beginning, you get an end. So now you have to read into that.
I wonder why. You're right. Why is that? Is it so?
English 202.
Is this person involved in something that can't be transparent? You know what I mean? So it can't be
Yeah.
talked about. You know, is it
But
something larger?
and then what happens? What is the effect of that in terms
Mm-hmm.
of what like? I'm sure we're not the only two wondering.
Like there's been 5 murders in the last week or something across Northern Ontario,
Yeah,
all by
there's a lot
guns,
going on.
and not really hearing much about who's involved, who's doing the shooting,
No.
who's what's going on here.
Just
So
the bad and the ugly.
So to me, is it human trafficking? Is it drugs? Is it like what? Like just give us some look. As long as if we already know this is going on in our cities, if the police even say yes, we're looking into it's a possibility of that kind of a ring, and and it's bigger than we are, and we're trying to work together with other police organizations throughout Northern Ontario. I don't know, something to give.
I mean,
some light
I
into it.
remember. I'll tell you. I'll share an experience with you if we have the time. But I was this is at a time quite some time ago, about 10 years ago, about 10 years ago actually, when I was living on Mountain and. Sorry, just lost my train of thought.
Okay, it's probably.
Oh yes, the community police. So Mountain being the flour mill area, the crime rate out there is it's higher in certain areas of the city than others. But the flour mill seems to have been attracting a certain type of criminal at the time, and everybody in the neighborhood was really just getting robbed left, right, and center.
For sure.
Neighbors were like, okay, well, where do we stand? To the point where the Sudbury police services came in. They set up kind of like a mini community town meeting sort of thing where they rent a conference room, and anybody who's in the community, specifically on Mountain Street, from here to there, the flour mill area. You're welcome to come to the community. And it was basically the police reaching out to the community. Okay, we'll have question and answer session. We'll explain things, because people wanted to know, what am I supposed to do if I see somebody in my yard messing with my stuff and my family, and I'm going to protect that stuff. Like, what are you supposed to do? And their response was like, basically, well, call us.
Yeah,
and then it just it just dominoes from there, because now it's like, that doesn't work, and then you've got all these it was just at the end of the day, it was a circus,
and it's something
a
that
bloody freaking circus.
Yeah,
and
and
I asked, did those town meetings, little meetings, continue? Oh, sure, they continue. The same problems were brought up.
Yeah.
But they seem to be very good at
so that's one of the big things we're dealing with in the city is crime. So we have crime, while we have homelessness, we have an opioid crisis. There's our university that just went bankrupt. The hospital comes into question too, because always saying that there's all kinds of problems with the hospital. I'm probably missing a few things, but there's just things that keep repeating, going over and over. But so to the hospital now, Health Sciences North has responded to a complaint from a member of the public who alleged there was a shortage of linens at the hospital last week. Yeah, the complaint said some patients felt cold and could not get blankets, and suggested
Linus took all the linen.
Yeah, the problem was felt especially by patients in the emergency room. HSN said the complaint is being investigated. The issue of linen supply is one that has been simmering for the past 5 years. It was in 2017 that HSN decided to contract out its linen and bedding laundry service to a company in Hamilton, Mohawk Hospital Services, and its associated company, Mohawk Medbuy. The decision to outsource the linen cleaning operation to the Hamilton company meant nearly 40 Sudbury workers lost their jobs at a Sudbury-based linen service. So we lost 40 jobs as a result of that. In responding to the recent complaint through email, HSN said it understands that the challenges can occur in supplying linens to the emergency room and that the hospital will follow up. They also said, while Health Sciences North has a stable supply of clean linen at our facilities, we are aware of the supply challenges for some departments, such as our emergency department, given high patient volumes, outbreaks, and other demands, said HSN Communications Manager Jason Turnbull. So aren't they in the business of these things? So what do you deem a hospital for? Like, what else is a hospital for? So it's almost like I couldn't do my job because I had to wake up in the morning, I had to drive there, and then I had to unlock the door. So you got to expect these things could happen. It's like, what? What's a hospital made for other than, the high volumes of patients, outbreaks, and other demands? What does that even mean, other demands?
Yeah. So again, I feel like this is a canned response. It's like, where did you Google that from?
Yeah.
Come up, it's like another one of those standard responses. Now I'm thinking the outsourcing, that might be a problem. That might be the cause of this shortage or whatever, because obviously there's a problem with the logistics there. If it wasn't a problem, it's laundry, it's a hospital, get it together. It's a joke,
Yeah, for sure.
When I see something like this, but
so Jesse's saying the hospital has more problems than just linens. Obviously, there's lots of problems going on behind the scenes. People are overdosing on drugs.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
So all kinds of stuff. Yeah, and the staff treats the people on opioids. Good morning, Jerome. Thanks for being with us this morning, my friend. So so it's there's a lot of things going on. I know I was treated very poorly going in, and I know a lot of people say they were treated very poorly in the hospital. And they could say again, you can give that same canned statement that Jason Turnbull and
a linen supply shouldn't be even an issue.
No, have a few extras on hand.
The fact that it even is, and that we're reporting it is. I don't know.
So if I'm an administrator of a hospital and I'm the CEO or whatever, do I try and say it's like the winter storms coming up, right? So you're like, Environment Canada says make sure to have an emergency kit in your car, make sure to plan to prepare, have a flashlight, have all these things. So I'm a hospital administrator. Okay, let's say we just went through a pandemic. Okay, what other things could happen? Could we get another outbreak? What would we need if we had another outbreak? What do we got to do? And I know it's not that simple, and I understand I'm not a hospital CEO, but it's just
it really is that simple to build a survival kit. But, it's just on a larger scale.
Yeah, I know. What do we need in order to serve our community? To do what we're here to do, right? So, anyways, did you hear about the petition that they sent out?
Issue. Yeah, for one.
He learned his skills at the CBC. Jason Turnbull.
That's funny.
Because he did the afternoon show.
Right. Okay.
For CBC. As far as I know, good guy. It's just, again, what is he gonna? It's like you said, he can't say.
I'll have to Google that because I'm kind of thinking of two people right now, but I'm not sure. So who we're talking?
So did you hear about the petition that was given about the Dominic Giroux asking for his resignation?
Right.
So that was last
on the headline. That was last
week. Yeah, that was a while ago, and we didn't have a chance to cover that. So online petitions targets the top hospital administrator. Organizer Patrick Crow says Dominic Giroux should step down in light of Laurentian University's financial woes. Giroux served as Laurentian president before moving to Health Sciences North.
What did Giroux say about that? Yeah.
Sudbury resident is calling on Dominic Giroux to step down as president and CEO of Health Sciences North after details of his role in Laurentian University's financial downfall were revealed. Talk about transparency. You get it 11, 12 years afterwards. But anyways, there was transparency because of the report. He was asked to, so again, I lost my spot here. But anyways, in July, local filmmaker Patrick Crow started a change.org petition to voice his concerns about Giroux's ongoing employment with the hospital in light of what happened with Laurentian since then. More than 300 other community members have signed in support of Crow's demands for Giroux to be replaced. Crow said, "I'm sickened by the spectacle of the good old boy meritocracy of our city failing upwards without any accountability for very significant errors of judgment." Failing upwards, that's an interesting kind of saying.
That's interesting.
The Sudbury Star made multiple attempts to reach Health Sciences North and Dominic Giroux for comment, but what do you think happened?
Hey, no contact. They weren't available for comment. No.
They received no reply.
No reply.
Talk to the hand. HSN board chair Daniel Giroux, no relation to Dominic Giroux, previously issued a statement expressing the board's support of Giroux and praising his contributions to the hospital during his tenure. The HSN board has full confidence in the leadership of its president and CEO, he wrote. The board is extremely confident in the job that Dominic has done as CEO. The job was recently validated by being chosen by his peers to be chair of the Ontario Hospital Association at a time of great challenge in Ontario's healthcare sector.
I think that's a little one-sided, but okay.
While personal matters about the petition,
of course, if you're a member of the boys' club.
While personal matters put the petition on the back burner for a few months, Crow said the release of the Auditor General's report about Laurentian's problems in November compelled him to take up the cause once again with renewed energy. The report very squarely identifies responsibility of the unraveling to an ill-considered capital building campaign that started under the reign of Dominic Giroux, said Crow. We've come to know more about the errors of judgment that were made. So if you wanted to find the link to that petition, I don't know if it's in the report in this
Wasn't
news.
it at the bottom?
Holy cow, this is a long story. What's that?
Sorry, I thought I had seen it at the bottom of the article, but I was correct. So it was started on. You read it right at the beginning here. So.
Yeah, it's change.org, and I guess you can just go on change.org. The link is there, by the way. It is right at the beginning of the story, so I'm going to find it near the end. So, as according to Lysic's report,
found it here. It's
right at the beginning.
I'll just post it in my comments there.
Okay, perfect. So Lysic said the former president had an unusually advantageous 2014 employment contract, she said. It afforded him 1 year of paid administrative leave at full salary for each full 5-year term completed, and the right to eventually return to Laurentian as a full professor at the 90th percentile or higher of a full professor's salary, despite having never worked as a professor. That's what Dominic Giroux put as part of his departure in 2017. Wow. The gravy just keeps getting thicker and thicker.
I know it does it ever. I want to dip my fries into that.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
That's thick gravy, man.
There.
So he had an unusually advantageous employment contract in 2014. 1 year of full paid administrative leave and full salary for each of 5-year full term completed.
Very interesting stuff, folks. Go and the HSN website. Well, the HSN has their financial docs out there. You just have to.
You're right. It has to be public, right?
North, and you'll get direct links to their quarterly reports or financial documents, including those of the foundation, which is responsible for the lottery portion and charitable donations and things.
So speaking of that,
the numbers, the numbers that you read and the labels beside them, sorry, just to add to the Dominic Giroux's salary comments there.
Oh, that's just a derogatory comment about how bad the hospital is, which, and that's an opinion. I had really terrible experience in the hospital. Karen saying, and that explains the high cost of education. There you go. Now, are all university presidents that greedy, I would say, or that, wow, that's just total
No,
greed,
that's not a fair conclusion, but
you know?
sorry.
But anyways, he had a
It is.
plan though of how he could have a gravy train continue while he's now, there may be a reason why HSN is doing so well. And that's reported right here in the latest CTV news segment. Let's check in right here.
We'll see Katie in a few minutes. If you're feeling lucky, you have till the end of the month just about to get in on the big 50-50 draw with HSN, Sudbury's Hospital. And for the first time, the prize money is over $1 million. It's the biggest prize in the 2.5-year history of this draw, where the money raised helps to fund capital purchases at the hospital. Details now from CTV's Ashley Bacon.
Over $1 million in our HSN 50-50 lottery.
Health Sciences North Foundation President Anthony Keating says the proceeds of these regular draws are good for the hospital and for the community. And with over a week to go, he feels the jackpot will grow even further.
We anticipate that this jackpot is going to skyrocket and go way beyond the $1 million mark. So we really hope that people will come out, continue to participate, play our lottery, and we know we can exceed this $1 million exceptional prize already.
Keating says some of the funds will go towards the work being done at HSN's Research Institute, but much of it will be for new hospital equipment.
We are also investing in research through our HSM Research Institute, and probably one of the most important pieces of work that we're doing is investing in our future capital for Health Sciences North. We all know in Northern Ontario that Health Sciences North was built too small, and we have a plan to change that.
Since its inception, the lottery has raised over $14.5 million to support HSN and its foundations. The money goes towards the highest priority needs throughout the HSN network. That includes the HSN Foundation, Neo Kids Foundation, the Northern Cancer Foundation, and the HSN Volunteer Association.
We do rely on the community for their donations and participation in the HSN 50-50 lottery. It's been a phenomenal success for us so far.
The previous highest jackpot was just over $900,000, but if you want a chance at this 7-figure prize, you have until December 29th to purchase a ticket. Ashley Bacon, CTV News, Sudbury.
There you go, Sudbury. I'll finish that for her. Anyway,
Well,
so
that lottery is really building momentum. That's for sure.
and they said it's for
I like its mandate. That's
for capital projects, right? That was the thing that got Dominic Drew in hot water with Laurentian. So if you can just have a monthly lottery, it's raised $14 million already. So there's just money coming in from just extra money. So
it's a sick amount. I skimmed through the financials. I went straight for the cash flow just to see where it goes from here to there, right? But
I thought we had universal health care, Brian. I thought the idea of universal health care was that our high taxes that we pay, we're supposed to pay for things like this.
Right.
Why do they need a lottery? $1 million a month. $1 million a month. That's $12 million a year if it keeps going. And they said it's going to keep growing, which I do believe it's going to do. So let's just say they made $1 million a month off just people lottery. Can you go out and say, you know what, I need a new car. I'm just going to start a lottery and 50-50 draw for my new car. Can you do that if you wanted to?
No, definitely not. No.
How come?
No, just
why couldn't you do that?
Yeah, don't. Have
why is the hospital able to do that, but you're not able to do that? Meanwhile, your taxes are already paying for the hospital. Your taxes are paying for that hospital. Why don't they then lower our taxes and just have lotteries? That would make sense. That's the money they would be using. And he says
maybe that's what's happening.
We knew our hospital was built too small. We knew our hospital was built too small when it was built. What the heck? Why was it built too small? Like, who's in charge of these things? Why was the hospital built too small? And obviously the parking lot was way too small. I knew that right away. No parking there. And you got to pay an arm and a leg. You can never get near the door.
So what the hospital was an ideal of amalgamating a bunch of hospitals into one and then creating this northern hub of healthcare.
Yeah. So a lot of comments from Jesse here. Jesse, I'm going to get to a bunch of them. Education system is mostly a failure. Yeah, I There's a lot of stuff in there. I wonder what the new shiny mayor feels about Giroux. I wonder if he would have a statement. I think he might have said something, but again, it was those politician type answers, those canned answers that don't really say anything. It just gets you to say something just to satisfy the media, and then that's it. Perfect. They don't need our tax dollars anymore. Yeah, that was my point. They don't need our tax dollars anymore. They could just use the lottery money. If we want to learn how,
there's much more going on than meets the eye. I mean, it's how do you, is it reward the feeble? Not the feeble, but the
incompetent.
The feeble get nothing. Yeah, the incompetent. I don't know. It's just it's interesting to watch unfold each day. I don't know whether to laugh or cry, but
well, there was one comment on it. It said, "Well, maybe they can afford to buy new linens now."
Sorry, you cut out there.
Well, one of the comments said maybe they can afford to buy new linens.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
maybe they can.
yeah. How many linens can you get for $1 million?
That's what I'm trying to think now. Isn't there a better way to divide this prize up and come up with a better mandate than just to buy capital equipment? Like, how about show it in other places where the public can see?
Yeah.
Those improvements.
How about the public votes on it?
Or how about that even?
Yeah, they have an online thing, and we just got $1 million. Where should we have? There's a poll
what
there.
What should we do with it? Yeah,
that should be included in a lot of these budgets from now on. It's just a simple online polls about things. And
it's funny that you say that. I'm going back to school. I know I didn't tell you that.
Oh, congratulations!
Somebody telling you, but
awesome.
I'm going to go to business school for a few years and see if I can get my accounting degree and my CPA, and. But I'm going to go for a focus in, believe it or not, forensics accounting.
Excellent, Brian. That's awesome.
So
great news.
Take a look at the numbers and see what's happening with some of this huge money that seems to be going around nowadays. And the talk of it. I mean,
maybe you can be part of
spent by the feds and on. I don't know how we end up sending a bunch of money to prisoners and people that don't even live in the country and dead people. I mean, doesn't our computer systems smart enough to figure that out? Like,
and you're talking to the Serb fiasco there of billions of dollars just
not just
unaccounted for.
Any program surrounding that pool of money, right? That was put out there. How easily it was so put out there.
They don't know where half the money went. It's like, how do you not know where my tax dollars went? Like. People should be enraged about, you're giving all your taxes and then it's just, whoops, we don't know where we just spent $1 billion of your tax dollars. And then when you do know where it is, it's not up to par services and things.
No,
like the hospital, but
really isn't.
But you could
be
part
of better chance with Bitcoin or a better chance with a cryptocurrency, really, and knowing what's happening with your money.
But you could be part of Jesse's solution of a civilian oversight commission.
Right.
He says everything needs something like that. And I agree with that. I think there needs to be like serving in your community as citizen. Again, everyone has a price though, and then those would be paid off or something compromised. And then you'd have an oversight committee to an oversight committee, and then you'd pay them off. And then you'd have an oversight committee to the oversight committee to the oversight committee, and somehow they could be compromised.
It's not going to be undone in any.
Everyone's got a price. If someone came up to you and said, I give you $1 million not to do this show anymore. Like I would go, like I would contemplate that. Like who wouldn't, right? So if I would contemplate that, like who else now wouldn't, who in money, you can just print money. Yeah, exactly.
No question,
You can just print money, right? So they can just print money and then offer it to people to get things done. So things aren't transparent. But things just need to be transparent, and there needs to be no questions about it. But then you can say, it's national security. That's why it can't be transparent.
Well, I guess we're going to see what happens with this new $500 benefit they have for low-income renters. See how well that goes. Apparently,
that's only a one-time, Brian.
This is an auto payment. It's not an auto payment though. It's a one-time thing.
One time. I don't think that's going to do anything.
It's set up in the same way that the CERT was.
And you have You know how hard it
if
is?
your intentions, if you're malintentioned, and that button's staring at you in the face, you're going to hit it. That's where.
But do you know it's very hard to?
All those billions.
But it's not easy to apply for that even. It's very hard to apply for that. You got to give every bit of information, your banking information. You got to give your blood type. You got to give everything to them, and then they give you $500 once, and then it's done.
I love the way they do this. They just appease you with these like micro payments. It's like, here you go. Like,
why do you think
that's supposed to cover for the cost of inflation over the last?
What do you think CERB was all about, anyways?
It's hilarious.
What do you think that was all about? So, okay, we're going to shut the country down. Everyone's like, "What? You're going to shut the country down for 2 weeks?" Even it was only no, just 2 weeks. Only 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
3 years later, only 2 weeks, and then we're going to give everybody a payment of $2,000. And everyone's like, oh, really? $2,000? Okay, I could be shut down for $2,000. I'll go with that. So again, give me a break. It's just, and then look what happens. Who's paying for that money? It's us. You know,
us,
so
yes,
and then
but I just got the $500. Now I got to give it back to you.
Yeah, now you got to give it back, and that's a whole fiasco too. So a lot of comments coming in. I'm going to share them on screen. I can't really say them at the moment just because we're out of time. Thanks everyone for watching and chiming in. Thank you so much for your comments. Really appreciate you. We appreciate you helping this show be what it is. We appreciate you, Brian, for being with us today. It was a great conversation. We're able to get through most things. This last thing I'm just going to share here is there's a missing person. If you've seen this person, he's from Espanola. He's been missing from a couple days ago. But anyways, contact police if you know him. His name's Mark.
That was the last one I read last night before falling asleep. So I'm noticing a lot of this too. A lot of missing people of all ages in the region. I don't know why, but
all kinds of things going on.
Prayers and thoughts.
For sure. Well, thanks, Brian, for being with us. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow for some more news. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.